Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a totally fascinating sociological observation that honestly impacts every single one of us, from our local office dynamics right up to global leadership. Okay, so imagine this for a second. Your absolute least favorite coworker, the one who constantly talks over everybody in meetings, well, suddenly they pitch a brilliant, completely foolproof way to give everyone in the office a 4-day work week. Or think about a politician you just fundamentally cannot stand, suddenly proposing a common-sense policy that would undeniably lower your taxes and fix the local roads. Your immediate gut reaction? It probably isn't joy, right? It's suspicion. You might even find yourself desperately looking for reasons why the idea is actually terrible. So, have you ever wondered why truly beneficial changes, things that would objectively make our society or our daily lives so much better, often just fail to get off the ground? It's a profound puzzle, and the answer, as you'll see, has a lot less to do with the actual ideas and a whole lot more to do with human psychology.
Which brings us right to our core question today. Why do great ideas die? It's kind of a modern tragedy, isn't it? We're going to zoom in on the hidden mechanics of human bias today, and then we'll zoom back out to see the massive societal cost of all this. Keep this question in the back of your mind as we go through this, because the graveyard of human progress is literally filled with absolutely incredible concepts that, ironically, everyone actually agreed with.
Part 1. The death of great ideas.
So, we often assume that if a thought is honest, sincere, and genuinely good for society, it's just going to naturally rise to the top and be embraced by the masses, right? Think about the ideal scenario. Honest and sincere thoughts are presented, and great ideas and intentions are formed around them. I mean, it sounds like a perfect recipe for success. You pitch a winner, everyone cheers, and the world gets a little bit better. But in practice, many of these highly beneficial ideas simply hit a brick wall and die out completely. What's absolutely wild here is that people actually do like honest and sincere thoughts. They aren't fundamentally rejecting the merit of the concept itself. So, if the idea is good and the intentions are objectively positive, what exactly is the roadblock causing all this stagnation?
Well, that roadblock is what we call the paradox of the messenger. Basically, this is the phenomenon where our acceptance of an idea is inextricably linked to our perception of the person delivering it. We're essentially kind of just incapable of separating the message from the person speaking it. And to understand why, we really have to look at how our brains are wired. Evolutionarily speaking, we are deeply tribal creatures. For early humans, survival depended on knowing exactly who was in your tribe and who was an outsider. We developed these neurological shortcuts to instinctively trust our friends and deeply distrust our enemies. Fast forward to today, and guess what? Those ancient survival mechanisms are still running in the background. When someone we dislike presents a great idea, our brain experiences some severe cognitive dissonance. It literally cannot reconcile a good thing coming from a bad source. So, to resolve that super uncomfortable tension, our brains just take the easy way out. We just reject the idea.
Moving on to Part 2, the messenger paradox defined. Our source material today presents a pretty heavy central thesis, and it goes like this. We generally do not hate the idea, but hate the ideator. Just let that sink in for a second. It's a pretty tough pill to swallow, isn't it? Mainly because it exposes a serious flaw in our own rationality. We love to think of ourselves as incredibly objective, highly evolved beings who evaluate proposals based purely on their logical merit. We think we're like judges in a courtroom, just weighing the cold hard facts. But this quote tells us the uncomfortable truth. Our personal feelings wildly dictate our logical support. We don't hate the plan, we just hate the architect.
Imagine a giant scale. On one side of it, you have a completely objective, honest thought that would undeniably benefit society. Maybe it's a revolutionary way to clean the oceans, or a brilliant new economic policy. Now, on the other side of that scale, you have a leader you fundamentally dislike pitching it to you and taking charge of its implementation. In our brains, a massive cognitive clash occurs. We desperately want the good thing, but our disdain for the person offering it acts as a total emotional blockade. The sheer merit of the idea literally doesn't stand a chance against the overpowering force of our personal bias. We will actually sit there and watch the scale tip away from societal progress just because we can't stand the guy holding the weights.
Which brings us to Part 3, denying the leader credit.
So what's the hidden psychological motive driving this kind of behavior? Like, why would we shoot ourselves in the foot like this? Well, it creates this really toxic cycle of rejection. First, an idea that dramatically improves living conditions is proposed. Second, a disliked leader is the one proposing it. And here's the absolutely crucial, devastating third step. We criticize and reject the idea, not because it's actually flawed, but simply to deny them the credit. Think about the incredible gravity of that for a minute. We are willing to actively sabotage our own society,
We will literally reject improvements to our own daily lives just to prevent an unpopular leader or maybe a rival from getting a win on their resume. It is undeniably petty, definitely a little bit dark, but profoundly human. We'd honestly rather sit in the pouring rain than accept an umbrella from someone we don't like.
All right, part 4, the lens of perception.
Now, when we scale this whole concept up from, say, individual petty grievances in an office to the level of massive community development or global policy, the impact is absolutely staggering. All noble, beneficial ideas are ultimately filtered through our personal impressions. The good intentions of leaders almost never reach us in their pure objective form. Instead, they're viewed through the incredibly thick lens of our impression of that specific person. And the result? The actual merit of the idea is entirely overshadowed by the messenger. We see this in the real world constantly, don't we? Vital infrastructure projects stall out, critical public health initiatives face massive resistance, and brilliant workplace innovations are completely suppressed, all because of interpersonal politics and optics. If the public doesn't like you, your brilliant, mathematically perfect solution to a massive crisis is pretty much dead on arrival. It just goes to show us exactly how fragile progress really is, because human advancement relies heavily on the popularity of the innovator, not just the quality of the innovation.
Which leads me to a final question for you to ponder today. Have you ever rejected a noble idea just because of who said it? Seriously, think about it. Have you ever dismissed a great suggestion at work or a really solid proposal in your community simply because the person pitching it kind of rubs you the wrong way? I want you to take this away with you today. The next time you find yourself instinctively shooting down a proposal, just pause and ask yourself if you truly hate the idea or if you just hate the ideator. Separating those two things might just be the exact key to unlocking the progress we all actually want. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning your lenses.